Hi there, it's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com here with this week's episode of the Tuesday Brews Day. Yeah, I know it's not Tuesday, it's Wednesday, but was having problems with my internet connection, could not get MTGO reinstalled on the computer, and it took me till today to get it up and running. However, I do want to showcase this deck. This is a deck by the father of Skred, Morton, who is one of my first subscribers, one of my first friends that I met through the Rogue Deck Builder channel. He used to do some brews for us over at Rogue Deck Builder. Kind of fallen out of touch with Morton, going on to doing real life things and having a career and whatnot, but he is back with an updated Skred list, and it's been tearing up the meta. He has done very well. I think that last time I talked to him, he was 13-2 with this deck list, and has since gone on to more victories and a really good win percentage with this Skred list. Keeps updating it as time goes on, but the shell of the deck remains. So let's just talk about Skred Red, and then we'll queue it up in some tournaments. Forgive me before we start playing some games. I'm very rusty with MTGO. I might miss on the hotkeys and whatnot, and I'm pretty rusty on Magic the Gathering as a whole. Been playing a lot of Oathbreaker, and that's about it. Been playing some Arena, and Arena just makes you a bad player because it's just a totally different game, in my opinion, especially when you play a lot of the best of ones. So, Skred. What is Skred? Skred was one of the earliest decks that we showcased on the Rogue Deck Builder that actually got its own little following. Again, I credit Morton for being the father of Skred. Yes, there have been some other players in the past that have piloted Skred, but it was really Morton that took the time to brew the deck, get the numbers right, and someone actually took basically a carbon copy of his version and won a GP with it, and then the deck kind of took off for a while. Then there was a time period in Modern where it wasn't a good deck, and it kind of fell by the wayside, and like I said before, Morton moved on to other stuff, with college and getting a career and whatnot. But now he's back to having more free time and has made this deck actually viable again. So Skred is all about having snow-covered permanents to cast Skred and deal off as much damage as possible to a creature. Modern still is a creature-based format. It's not unheard of getting Skred big enough to kill Hogaaks or other large creatures, but it just really scales well. You can kill most things from like humans early on, and regardless of what turn it is, it's usually going to kill their threat. And then the other card in Skred is going to be Lightning Bolt, which is going to take care of the rest of the problematic creatures, or can actually kill planeswalkers or go directly to face. Any deck that plays red usually runs 4 Lightning Bolts. So that's kind of the good removal package with Skred. Skred got a lot of upgrades from Modern Horizons, the first one being Frostwalk Bastion. This is a snow land that can turn into a 2/3 artifact creature. And if it deals combat damage to a creature, they get tapped and don't untap. It's a little bit relevant actually in this format. It does die to lightning bolts, but again, it's another land that you can find with your scrying sheets or just adds toward your Skred snow-covered permanence count. So I think that's very relevant. Speaking of scrying sheets is one of the better cards in this deck that you got to look at the top card of the library. If that card is a snow card, you reveal it and put it in your hand. So it helps you no longer draw into lands later on in the game, unless you have, of course, 2 on top of your library. That's the only way. That when you have excess mana, you start popping off the scrying sheets, and that allows you to continue to draw gas. After that, the rest of the 22 lands can be filled up with snow-covered mountains. Then what makes Skred really good in the meta is Skred usually feels almost like a hate bears type deck. It's all about cards that shut down what your opponent is doing, especially degenerate decks. So Relic of Progenitus is going to be in the main, and it's going to do a very good job of shutting down the majority of the graveyard-based decks. It also can cantrip versus decks that aren't running their graveyard, and it's very good against like Snapcaster Mage decks or things that sort of use their graveyard. You never know when that comes into effect. It's good against shutting down Tarmogoyfs and dumbing them down to 0/1s and then being able to bolt or Skred them away. And just an extremely good card. Also allows you to run a very low land count. That's one of the things that the next card allows you to do as well. That this card can just be cantripped away for very little mana. So speaking of another Modern Horizon edition, this is Arcum's Astrolabe. This is a snow artifact that just when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card, and it can filter the mana. And in this deck, it actually is relevant to filter the mana for one of our sideboard cards. So again, this allows you to run a low land count. Mind Stone is still in Skred. Another cantrip type artifact, also can ramp you to your 4-drops, and 4-drops are quite important. You'll be noticing in this list that we are not running Koth of the Hammer. It has been a card that has been cut from Skred, and as well as Chandra, Torch of Defiance. Both of those are still very viable in Skred. However, I think that Karn Great Crater package with Mycosynth Lattice is just a bit better. And at that point, there's no room for 4-drops. Your 4-drop slot is a very small window, about 5 to 6 cards. You can actually bump that up a little bit more, but I think Pia and Kiran Nalaar is a card that you're going to continue to run in this deck because it's very good against the creature-based decks, and we'll talk about that in a second. The next hate card is going to be Blood Moon. Blood Moon is non-basic lands or mountains, shuts down a lot of the Tron decks or decks that just have any sort of utility through their lands, and any decks that are really greedy on their mana base. If you actually check out a lot of the Hogak decks and Jund decks, they're running a surprisingly low amount of basic lands. Sometimes like 1 or 2 swamps is all they're running, and so you can catch them with after they've cracked for a shock, and especially the game 1s where you can game 1 Blood Moon. This is typically a card that comes out of your sideboard, and then Jund players then play a lot more respectful for Blood Moon when they know it can come out of the sideboard. But since it's in the main, you can actually win a lot of game 1s against decks like Jund or any sort of other 3-color or 4-color deck that is very greedy on the mana base. Blood Moon does shut down, like I said, the utility lands. We are running some utility lands in our deck, but it really doesn't hurt us that much if we need to cast a Blood Moon and shut down our Frostwalk Bastions and Scrying Sheets. Not a big deal. They still count as snows, I believe. Yeah, I still think they do count as snow permanents for Skred when you Blood Moon them. The next hate card, which is surprisingly effective right now in Modern, is Anger of the Gods. This is very good against hardened scale affinities, humans, any other aggro-based decks, like even Dredge, kills most of the things out of Dredge. It's extremely potent right now in the meta. There have been games against Hogak where I've been able to Anger of Gods and Skred Hogak, and then Hogak gets exiled. So keep that in mind. They lose their entire board, and that's a great way to come back. And then we have the card that I really like with running so many main board hate cards, which is Seasoned Pyromancer. Seasoned Pyromancer has a Faithless Looting attached to it, and so this is a way that you can get rid of your Blood Moons or your Angers against decks that you're not going to be needing them in game 1. I've been able to pitch Skreds, be able to pitch even Relics or Mind Stones at that point for more gas. This is a 3 mana for basically 4 power on board, so you get a 2/2 and 2/1/1 red elemental creature tokens. The last game I just played against Through the Breach, I was able to go turn 1 Arcum's Astrolabe, turn 2 Relic, and then turn 3 Seasoned Pyromancer, and my opponent was able to get the Through the Breach Emrakul, and all I did was take 15 damage, sacrifice the 4 permanents from Seasoned Pyromancer, sacrifice an Arcum's Astrolabe, and sacrifice a Relic, and it did not affect my mana base at all, and was able to recover and then win that game just because my opponent used so many resources getting out that Through the Breach. So Seasoned Pyromancer are very good too with the exile it from your graveyard to create 2 more elemental creature tokens. There were games against a blue control deck where between Seasoned Pyromancer and Pia and Kiran Nalaar, the value from those creatures where they have to end up 2 for 1ing a lot of times, even 3 for 1ing these type of cards, leaving back elemental creature tokens that actually can produce a clock against your opponents, is very proficient right now in the Modern format. So Pia and Kiran Nalaar has a lot of synergy in this deck. It can sacrifice Astrolabes or Relics to do 2 damage to any target. It can sacrifice the Thopter tokens that are created, and it can actually even sacrifice like the Frostwalk Bastions when they turn into artifact creatures. So Pia and Kiran Nalaar, very good card that creates 4 power on board, 2 of it being evasive with flying. It almost feels like a Lingering Souls in this deck to help you stabilize, to find your win conditions. A lot of times they will be just chump blocking to get you to where you need, and then you can start to outpace your opponent. Next up, we have a package of Karns, the first being Karn, Scion of Urza. Karn, Scion of Urza is going to be your card advantage in this deck. It's going to also be a pseudo-finisher with Pia and Kiran Nalaar. With Astrolabes, you can actually start pumping out some pretty potent 0/0 colorless constructs that then get +1/+1 for each artifact you control. They can easily be 5/6, 6/6s, start outclassing Tarmogoyfs and whatnot. I can even outclass Hogak at the point where you get enough of these tokens out for artifacts. Then we have Karn the Great Creator. It's just too good not to be playing right now in the Modern format. It's a very good answer versus Tron, as your opponent cannot activate artifacts. and of course the Mycosynth Lattice combo is in the sideboard. It gives you even more of a kind of hate bears feel to this deck, where you can go to your sideboard and get exactly the answer for the deck. It has a nice combination with like Liquimetal Coating, to where you can start turning your opponent's lands into artifact creatures, where then they become 0/0s and then just cease to exist. And then it can go and grab cards like Pithing Needle, Damping Sphere, Batterskull, and of course the Mycosynth Lattice is the card that you usually want to get with Karn that just wins the game. Last but not least is a 1 of Chandra Awaken Inferno. This is pretty good against Teferi lists or Jace the Mind Sculptor lists or any other control deck, as it cannot be countered and immediately +2 it. Each of your opponent gets an emblem. At the beginning of your upkeep, this emblem deals 1 damage to you. That emblem oftentimes wins games versus control matchups. By the time Teferi ticks up to where Teferi can then ult and start destroying permanents, they can't rely on the Teferi tuck to actually win the game. This emblem will kill them before that. And then it's just another honorary Anger of the Gods to get rid of any go wide type strategy. The negative X is also quite good for 6 mana. It can deal X damage to a creature or planeswalker, and then exile it. So again, if you have to hook this up with like a lightning bolt or lightning bolt or a Skred to get rid of the Hogak, it's a way to do so. So onto the sideboard. This sideboard is definitely open to interpretation. I have made one change from Morton's list, which is instead of a Walking Ballista, I added a Chandra Acolyte of Flame. I felt like I needed more ways to cast Skreds and Lightning Bolts from the graveyard. Chandra is a very good card to bring in the sideboard against those particular matchups, as it's going to give you 2 more Skreds or Lightning Bolts from your graveyard, or another Anger. And it can also be a win condition with just creating 1/1 red elemental creature tokens that you can keep dealing 2 damage per turn. Or it can really grind the game out by putting a loyalty counter on itself and any other planeswalkers you may have. It was more interesting with the Koth version, with Chandra into Koth and then getting Koth to the ultimate. Koth is still a card that I want to experiment, because still the Koth the Hammer plus if you have 4 snow-covered mountains and then go into Koth, and then the next turn you drop another snow-covered mountain, you can -2 Koth to add 5 mana in your mana pool, tap for 5, and then you can actually have the 10 mana to cast Karn the Great Creator into Mycosynth Lattice. So Karn is not forgotten. Still want to mess around with Karn. I'm going to talk to Morton about it. In the future, maybe just throw a 1 of in here instead of something. Maybe instead of a Pia and Kiran Nalaar. Who knows if that is the right case. But this little combination too with Chandra Acolyte of Flame and Koth the Hammer is pretty good. So don't discount that. Another Chandra Awakened Inferno is in the sideboard to deal with the control matchups. 2 Pillages are in here they're pretty versatile. You can bring them in against artifact decks. And of course, this is just your go-to way of destroying Tron before it gets up to Tron. And the Goblin Cratermaker, this is a way to kill opposing Karn the Great Creators. It's good against any artifact-based deck. Get against Eldrazi's as well to destroy target colorless non-land permanent. It can also be good to kill just do 2 damage to a creature, so it can be another shock effect you can bring in. Wear Tear. This is really good with the Astrolabe. The last game that I was able to play Wear Tear, I was able to kill Hardened Scales and an animation module with the Wear Tear, and effectively just shutting down that game, getting rid of 2 key pieces. So the Tear gets rid of enchantments. You never know when you need to have that to get rid of worships, for example. I could come across that. And this is just another artifact killer in the form of Wear. Pithing Needle and Damping Sphere are great to bring in versus any sort of activated ability, or Pithing Needle, excuse me, is good to bring in versus activated abilities and against like planeswalkers. Yeah, a lot of use for Pithing Needle. You usually want to keep in your sideboard as a target that Karn can just scoop up. And Damping Spheres you can bring in versus any deck where it lands or they're trying to cast a lot of spells. So the Phoenix decks, the Storm decks, those are the type of decks you're going to bring in Damping Sphere. Next up, we have Dragon's Claw. This is really in here for the burn matchup. You bring in Dragon's Claw, and then whenever they cast a red spell and you cast a red spell, you're gaining life. It's going to gain you a ton of life in that matchup. It's going to give you that incremental life gain too, which is very, very important versus burn. And then we have Liquimetal Coating. We already talked about that with Karn the Great Creator. Batterskull is a great card to bring in or just tutor up with Karn the Great Creator against the control decks. This is a mess for them to deal with. The Mycosynth Lattice combo is with Karn. Everyone knows how that works. If you don't, a little bit of a recap. Karn says activate abilities of artifacts your opponent's control can't be activated. Lattice turns everything into the artifacts, and therefore they cannot tap lands for mana. The Wurmcoil Engine is the last card in the list. This could easily be a Hangerback Walker or another artifact like a, I don't think you'd want Trinosphere in this deck, but your usual suspects with Karn the Great Creator as a, maybe even like a Sorcerer Spyglass or something like that. But Wurmcoil Engine is also good versus the mid-range decks. Gets a Death Touch lifelink creature out. Also leaves back a 3/3 Death Touch and a 3/3 lifelink when it dies. So this is another card you can bring in. Usually against Jund is where it shines. It's bad against like Path to Exile decks, but it's really good against decks that like Liliana making you sacrifice it, you leave 2 back. Pretty good addition to bring in versus those particular deck. And it's not a bad little card to tutor up with Karn, the Great Creator. So that's more of an in-depth deck tech. Let's actually queue it up in a modern league and see how well we perform. Again, I am very rusty with MTGO, so there might be a lot of play mistakes due to just, I know they've switched things up since I've last played this. I actually had to install MTGO. It's been that long since I played. Dropped 200 tickets on this deck. So far, I've gone 3-0 with the deck. I've beat Through the Breach, Hardened Scales, and I believe as Humans was the matchups. So a very, very solid deck against those particular ones, and we'll see how well it fares in a constructed league. So let's go on here and let's get to the games. Alrighty, so match number 1 in the league. I believe this is a keepable hand. We do have a Blood Moon that could shut down our opponents. And we also have the first turn Cantrip with Arcum's Astrolabe, so definitely a keepable hand. We are on the draw though. Flooded Strand on our opponent. Could be anything, as fetch lands are quite versatile. So we will just play out this Arcum's Astrolabe and Cantrip away, and maybe Blood Moon will be able to get us some value if our opponent does get, nope, just gets an island. So it's going to be a grindy blue matchup. So Scrying Sheets is going to be very good here. I think that we will just chuck out the Scrying Sheets, and then we will throw out the Mind Stone here. So just a Plains and Island. Our opponent is playing around Blood Moon, which is probably smart. Yep, nothing to do with the mana. We can actually use Mind Stone to turn Arcum's Astrolabe into a Lightning Bolt if need be. Oops, passed the turn there. That was kind of bad for me here. So before my opponent draws a card, let's go ahead and bolt away that Cutthroat. So shouldn't have passed the turn there. Wasn't expecting to go against Flash. Before my opponent can draw a card, though, there we have the Cutthroat dead. The Fiery Islet coming out. Teferi Time Raveler, most likely going to bounce one of my, yeah, just bounces the Mind Stone. That's fine. I think we will go ahead and play a Seasoned Pyromancer here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that and probably chuck away the Blood Moon. Is the Blood Moon in a land, or maybe a Mind Stone in a Blood Moon? No, I'm going to go Blood Moon in a land. I don't think I need it. My opponent's played around the Blood Moon. And we only do get the one other elemental, but I don't want the... yeah, I don't think we need the additional elemental. Yeah, Mind Stone and Blood Moon probably is right there to get the additional. So Teferi's going to tick up. Yeah, Blood Moon's just bad here. Our opponent has a ton of basics. And we'll swing into the... And it would have turned the Fiery Islet into a mountain. So let's go ahead and swing both into Teferi. This will probably get Path, I would assume. Pestermite. So Pestermite's going to tap down. And we'll go ahead and Skred it. Whoops. Wait. Undo that, because I can't cast stuff as... Okay, so it taps it down. Yeah, okay. Now we will attack into Teferi. Yeah, we don't want to Skred it, because I want to put out another... Oh, it's going to block on the Pestermite onto the Elemental. That's fine. So resource for half a resource. And we'll check out the Pia and Kiran Nalaar. I think is pretty good here. That will give us a way to just kill the Teferi next turn. Opponent could have a board wipe. They're playing a lot of flash-based cards. I've never seen a deck like this. Again, I haven't played Modern in ages, so there could be a deck that runs just a bunch of flash blue creatures. Yeah. All right. So we're just going to drop a land and swing into Teferi with everything. Teferi goes down. I don't even think I care to run out anything into a board. We have Scrying Sheets here. We have, this is pretty safe just to go a Mind Stone. And my opponent wants a Cryptic Command and Mind Stone. More power to him. Does not, and not going to run out the Seasoned Pyromancer. There's no point. This isn't a matchup where you want to really open yourself up to a board wipe. I'm pretty sure there is a board wipe. This can be coming out like a Wrath of God or a not Settle the Wreckage. Settle the Wreckage could be a card. So we're going to go ahead and Scrying Sheets here at the end of turn. And it is indeed a snow permanent, so we get to put it into our hand. And there's another card. I'm going to attack first, I believe. Attack with everything and see if our opponent wants to Settle the Wreckage. I'll gladly accept to Settle the Wreckage. Restoration Angel. So it's going to come out and we're going to Skred it. Okay, so really on the blue-white flash here. I think we have a pretty good deck versus that game plan. And again, I don't want to spread too thin here. We'll just go ahead and throw out another Astrolabe. Opponent is struggling, hasn't hit land drops for a while, so there's probably a lot of gas. Okay, that's pretty good. We will cast the Karn. And I'm going to go ahead and... Oh! Opponent just scoops it up. I was going to go get Mycosynth Lattice, and that is that. So I have no clue what to bring in here as far as... I think the Chandra, the Awakened Inferno #2 is pretty good to bring in, and I'm kind of liking this Chandra Acolyte of Flame as well. We didn't see very much of anything, so I don't think like Wurmcoil Engine, Karn's just better to keep it. Blood Moon, my opponent just has so many non-basic lands and is playing around Blood Moon that I think I'm gonna take him out and put in this Cratermaker over the Pillage. Yeah, we saw blue-white. We didn't see anything for the red, so they're using the Fiery Islet just to cantrip. Saw a ton of basics. Yeah, Blood Moon's not eating this. You could make the argument for Batterskull over something like a Relic. Because would I rather tutor it up with Karn though? I'm gonna just keep Batterskull in the main here rather than put it in the side. And I need a lot of experience playing this deck. I'm very, very rusty with competitive Magic. I think this is quite fair to just run a Scrying Sheets 2 Skred hand. I think this is actually quite good. My opponent will most likely get basics because they will want to play around Skred. So, which is fine because we don't want to shut down our Scrying Sheets or our Frost Bastions in this matchup. So it does go get a blue and decides to opt. And puts a card on bottom of the library. Okay, Hallowed Fountain decides to do some damage. And since my opponent's wanting to flash things in, we'll just keep up our mana. And we're going to go ahead and Skred the flash creature that my opponent is going to put out here. Nope, just an opt. And there's the Sailor, so we will go ahead and just Skred it. Probably don't need to be keeping down those creatures. Skred's like something, but I have 3 of them. Skred's like something we want to save for Restoration Angels. So Cool Brew. Again, I'm not going to even do anything. I'm gonna react to what my opponent's doing. You know what? Actually, we can throw out a Cratermaker. Remand's fine. Remand really doesn't do a lot. just puts back a Cratermaker that isn't really relevant against my opponent's board state. So that's probably what we'll run out again. That's going to be a good card when we get up to... So actually, do you know what? I kind of want to just go for the Scrying Sheets because we want to hit lands. And then we have Skred up here for if my opponent flashes anything in. All right, does not. So yeah. So Chandra Awakening Inferno I think is going to be a win versus this particular deck. So my theory is to get up with Scrying Sheets, to try to go through my deck as much as possible. Unfortunately, it's not a Scry permanent, but that is something we can actually play. So we'll play it, see if it gets remanded. Spell Strutter Sprite, which we will on the stack Skred it. Is that a bad play? I don't think it is. So on the stack, we will Skred the Spell Stutter Sprite. And opponent decides to path through exile. We actually don't want my opponent to have a land. So we're actually just gonna we're gonna get rid of it here with double Skred. Probably isn't the right call. And I do want to hit lands here, so we're actually just going to go for the exile of the graveyard for both and see if I hit a land. I did not, which is what it is. Probably shouldn't have burned that other Skred, but my opponent's so desperate for a land. I'm desperate for a land as well. And we're just going to go ahead and look right now. So if I hit a land, we can drop it. Ugh, it is not a land. All right, so we're both struggling for lands. My opponent does get at least something to start dishing off damage. So this is sort of a fairy list. It's just all flash. Still has not hit the 4th land. We need our 6th land. So should I start giving my opponent things to counter? Cratermaker's good here. I still want it. Nah. We won't run anything else out. So I'm going to allow this to Pestermite to hit because I'm actually ahead on live total. My opponent's going to have to react to me, and I still want to hit those lands. And these can hit. There we go. So we do hit off of the... And I think we're just going to start off with Goblin Cratermaker and attack in. And now my opponent needs to react. And now we'll just... Yeah, this is a pretty easy Chandra. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and emblem. And there's a Cutthroat, so my opponent's going to try to race me, but my opponent also needs to take care of the Chandra. So decides to path through exile. I don't know how relevant that is. My opponent needs to fairy and bounce my Chandra, but then regardless, I get to recast and wipe my opponent's board. Neither of these are elementals. That actually even ramped me up, which is relevant. I think my opponent just needs to attack me here. Okay, gonna go for Chandra, which is exactly what I want to happen because I am just gonna kill Chandra here to get rid of my opponent's. Yes. Because I think this is pretty much a wrap. Path to exile on the Pestermite to keep it alive. And then counter it. Sure. Don't know why my opponent countered it. Oh, to get it up high enough. So, good news, though, is we do have Pia and Nalaar here that we're going to chuck out, which gives us a target. And we'll actually just sacrifice a Thopter. And that takes care of the Cutthroat. And I think that's going to be a wrap. It's going to be very tough for my opponent to get back from this. They've used a lot of resources. Path to Exiles are weird for my opponent to keep in. Still has 5 cards in hand, though, because they have not been hitting land drops. Very unfortunate for my opponent, but don't know if they are playing a deck that plays a lot of lands to begin with. So my opponent's just going to Path to Exile. That's fine. Get another Mountain. And another Scrying Sheets. And we'll just go ahead and attack in. I wonder what the best route would be. It's just going to be Karn. If Karn can hit here. And then choose a card that we own from outside the game. And we're going to go get the Liquimetal Coating. And then go ahead and cast the Liquimetal Coating. And we'll do another Astrolabe here. Whoops, spent the wrong mana, but we can still bolt with Scrying Sheets. And then that allows us to start... my opponent does scoop it up. It allows us to start killing off my opponent's lands. So there you have it. We are 1-0. And we'll queue up for the next one. Alrighty, here we are in match number 2. We'd like to play first. And this is another keepable hand because we have some cantrips here with the form of Relic of Progenitus, the Arcum Astrolabes. This deck is very good with finding what it needs. So we'll just go ahead with the turn 1 Astrolabe over the turn 1 Relic. I wonder which one's more important. I'm going to go Astrolabe here just to get the Skred count up. Unclaimed Territory, naming humans. And there's the Aether Vial. Okay, so we have a pretty weak hand versus humans here. So we're just going to go Relic of Progenitus, and most likely we're going to just cantrip that away at the end of turn. We need to find an Anger of the Gods as quickly as possible. Opponent gets to put a counter on the Vial. Good news is we have a pretty good Game 1 matchup. See if the Meddling Mage comes out here. That might be a bit of a problem. Thalia. Thalia is annoying because we can't Skred Thalia. But we can go ahead and Relic. And we're just going to go ahead and put out a Frostwalk Bastion. And now we can Skred Thalia. Just right now before, something comes out. We'll go with another Relic. Don't think this is relevant, but the Thalia is gone. And Pia and Kiran Nalaar is going to do very good here. Playing defensive until we can get to our Anger of the Gods. So 2 counters on the Astrolabe, 5 cards in hand. We have a Kitesail Freebooter, looks like that's not really going to do much. It's not going to hit our creature. So it just hits the Mind Stone. And again, that's not relevant right now. And throws in possibly a Meddling Mage for Pia is what would be the... Yep, okay. So opponent does have the nuts here for at least stopping the Pia and Kiran Nalaar. We can still draw into a lot of cards here to deal with our opponent's board. Like an Anger off the top would just be solid. Seasoned Pyromancer would be good here too. Like, I don't know if I ditch the Pia and Kiran Nalaar. Let's go ahead and Relic first to see what we can draw. And if we do draw just an Astrolabe. We could drop the Astrolabe and the no, I think we go Seasoned Pyromancer, and we will drop Pia and Astrolabe because we want to draw 2 cards here as soon as possible. And Blood Moon is decent. We get another Pia and Kiran Nalaar. To, if we can find that Anger of the Gods to play backup. Our opponent also can't attack in with the Meddling Mage, so they do need to find a pump spell for their... Okay, Thalia's Lieutenant, so it's going to put a +1 counter, but again, that's not that relevant to be attacking it with a Meddling Mage. And I will be Blood Mooning next turn. Actually, you know what? Blood Moon, I don't know if Blood Moon is that big of a deal. Thalia's Lieutenant, that's annoying for the Thalia's Lieutenant to get the Meddling Mage up to a 4. But my opponent's not going to attack in with Meddling Mage. Yeah, just going to attack in for 3. So Blood Mooning here, shutting down my Frostwalk Bastion, might not be the play. That's definitely the play. Unfortunately, though, now the Meddling Mage is above where we want to be. Ay. So the Kai'Sil Freebooter is larger than the... I'm going to go ahead and attack with the Seasoned Pyromancer, thinking that I'm wanting it in the graveyard. Alright, so my opponent does not block. Guess I should attack the rest of them. Is Blood Moon good here? I think I have to Anger. No, that's just bad. I just Blood Moon. Other than those Thalia's Lieutenants might start getting out of hand. So, needed the Thalia's Lieutenant into another spell. So I'm going to just block 2 of these. Opponent's going to throw out another Thalia's Lieutenant. So those do get above. Now Anger is really bad. Another Blood Moon. So we get shut down by the Meddling Mage, which, again, this is not a matchup you're going to be losing very often. Unfortunately for us, though, the matchup gets harder game 2. I don't think Blood Moon's against Vile. Well, Blood Moon is probably still okay to keep in. I don't know if there's enough we can actually take out. Like, this is where I think the Chandra Acolyte of Flame will shine. The other Chandra Awakened Inferno. The Cratermaker comes in. The Wurmcoil Engine is pretty decent. I'm going to keep the rest of them in the sideboard. Blood Moon might just be too slow, but it shuts them down if they don't have the Relic. Relic's a good one to cut for us. So we're going to cut the 4 Relics. If they don't have the Aether Vial, and I don't know if bringing in like a removal spell like Pillage is good for the Vial. Yeah, so we have to deal with like the Brenton Forge Tenders. That was just the perfect nuts for my opponent. Needed both the Thalia's Lieutenant and needed the another Thalia's Lieutenant or another clone to get above Anger. Otherwise, we wipe the board, get everything back, and win the game. So it was clutch, draw on my opponent's hand. Oh, I think I keep this because I have 2 cantrips and a lightning bolt. So we're going to go ahead and just go Astrolabe, and this will give us more information. There's a Skred. All right, so I'm not dying to Meddling Mage now. Or Kai'Sil Freebooter. And my opponent had the Vial again this turn, which, it is what it is. And I think we'll just throw out another Snow Covered, and then I'm just going to go Astrolabe rather than Mind Stone, just to draw another card and keep up a Lightning Bolt. And there's another Lightning Bolt. So we are in great shape here. Unclaimed territory. And opponent goes Thalia again to start off making me pay extra. So we do need to go ahead and get rid of the Thalia with a lightning bolt. That's the better one to do. And Thalia's donezo. And now my opponent needs to name, if my opponent names like Skred or Noble Hierarch. I actually don't care about Noble Hierarch here, because my opponent has all the mana and the vial that they need. And I'm actually, you know, I want less cards, problematic cards to deal with here. Need to be shutting down, or need to be cantripping these Mind Stones away. Meddling Mage don't care. Chose Skred, huh? We'll kill the Meddling Mage. And the Magic Rider is going to do 4 damage to us, but we'll Skred it on our turn. And there's Pia and Kiran Nalaar. Probably makes more sense just to Skred the Mantis Rider and throw out a Mind Stone and then cantrip it. Okay, beautiful. We have the Anger of the Gods. Our opponent didn't see that game number 1. Only 3 cards in hand, so I have a hard time thinking my opponent's going to get out of range. Needs like a Kitesail Freebooter. Lieutenant will get the Hierarch up, but that's awesome. Hopefully my opponent has another card. So I still think... I think I just Pia and Kiran Nalaar here. Skred gets rid of 2 creatures, or Anger gets rid of 2 creatures here. And a possible... Okay, yeah. I think that's fine. Possibly that's the wrong thing, just get rid of 2 cards. Yeah, opponent just seems to be very top-heavy on lands. That Vial is going to be very annoying. Acolyte of Flame will be good. I'm just going to go ahead and put out Pia and Kiran Nalaar. It's a terrible thing to get Reflector Mage, so... And we have a lot of ammo here for humans. So throws in a 3-drop could be like a Deputy of Detention, getting rid of the Thopters? I don't know. That seems... That was the wrong play, in my opinion, to throw out the Deputy for the Pia. Only gets in for 1. Not a problem. We'll take it. And my opponent's showing me these lands. I think at this point you just throw them in your hand and, you know, bluff out the... So here we'll go Chandra. Yeah, let's go Chandra. And then for a lightning bolt, and my opponent's just going to scoop it up. So my opponent drew a ton of lands this time around. So Pillage is interesting, though. Pillage is it just better than Blood Moon? I'm going to keep in a 1-of, and then maybe bring in 2 Pillages. It all seems bad. Maybe Batterskull is just better to have in the... Getting rid of a relic, though, does seem decent, and then destroying a land, too, might be relevant. Batterskull probably is something that we do want in the main. I'm just going to go 1 Pillage. And keep the Blood Mood 1 Pillage. We don't need the Needle. Needle actually can... What else are we worried about with activated abilities? With Needle, like a Needle can shut down the ability to flash them into play. But I just don't see myself wanting to run it. Okay, we'll just keep the 1 Blood Moon, 1 Pillage, and bring in the Batterskull. Risky keep if I do keep it. I'm going to keep it. We have a draw and a draw and a draw. to hit a land. And we have the Chandra Acolyte that does very well. And has the Vial again, because human decks always get to start. Oh, my opponent did mulligan. No. Yes, my opponent did mulligan. So, we need some help here. There's another draw. So, hopefully this finds a... We could just get shut down by a Thalia here. Yeah, that was a bad keep. If my opponent has Thalia, I think we're just donezo. No, just has a heavy Vial hand, so we are not donezo. We miss our land drop. Let's go another Arcum Astrolabe. Hopefully this one hits our land drop. We both kind of get garbage hands, but I thought I'd draw a land by now, and I don't. Yuck. So let's just get rid of a Mind Stone here. There's the Noble Hierarch. Ah, that was a bad keep on my part. I deserve this loss. I thought, though, I'd draw a land by now. Because Thalia... I can still draw a land to get out of the Thalia problem, though. Just too juicy with the... But, I mean, the Mind Stones were pretty bad. So it looks like a Kite Sail Freebooter's coming out here, which is not a very good card because we get... Yeah, we get both. It has to take either Lightning Bolt or Skred, and then we get it back. Could have double in hand. Okay, so this is interesting. It takes the Skred now, but if we just go land, and if we draw basically a land, we can Mind Stone, and then we have Anger of the Gods. It's just going to get back everything. So we do not draw a land, which is very, very unlucky. And get the highest converted mana cost in our deck. So the one-land Astrolabes was a very, very bad keep. I don't think we would have lost this if I would have mulliganed aggressively too. So just hitting 2 lands. Still, now I'm out of draws. I'm out of draws with the Arcum Astrolabes. Just need lands. Any old land will work here. I said I needed to avoid a Thalia's Lieutenant. And is this another copy card? Another Thalia's Lieutenant, and I think that is going to be lethal for the Anger of the Gods. We're not going to be able... Any old human gets them above. But, I mean, odds. What are the odds, though? We've gone through an entire mulligan without a land, and we do hit a land here, but it's going to be too little too late because we just died a lethal, right? Yep. Because we don't have a way to deal with it, so I don't know. I still think it's an okay keep. However, probably should have mulliganed it and been more aggressive with the mulls. I still am an old school player without the London mulligan. London mulligan need to be more aggressive because it's a lot easier to set up just cheese hands and ways to deal with cheese hands. And that was a bad, bad, bad keep. We'll go on to the next one. Alrighty, match number 3. I think this is keepable. We're having the same... we're having the problem. No, this is actually a pretty good spread of cards. Going against another possible blue deck here, and we have to go second 3 for 3. Lightning Bolt's a good draw here. It allows us to get to the late game if our opponent is playing threat. So still kicking myself about the last matchup. There's no way we should have lost that matchup with a majority of cards. We could have even been drawing bolts there at the last game and been able to get out of that. What a mess. All right, so Steam Vent Shocked. And something I can opt here, a Thought Scour. So we are going against Phoenix. Opponent did luck into a Phoenix here, so that's no good. Serum Visions. We need to find a relic ASAP. Did not find a land, though, so my opponent's in kind of dire circumstances with the land. So Scrying Sheets will throw out, I think, just another mountain here. We can cast everything in our hand now with the lands. We need to find Relic of Progenitus. And Mind Stones and ways to cantrip into it. So opponent's going to go for a Faithless Looting. This should find the land. Possibly ditch some Arclight Phoenixes. Yep. But did not find a land. So we need to find an Anger of the Gods now. Come on. Karn the Great Creator. At least we can actually use the Scrying Sheets now. Add in a turn. I think I will let the Phoenix hit this turn rather than taking care of them with Skred's bolts if my opponent does find a way to cast another card. Very unlucky. So now we had the unlucky match last game, and now our opponent gets to be in our position. Gotta love Magic sometimes. Our opponent's gone through an entire, way more than a mulligan, to try to find another land. And gets rid of all the Asphoritolds and still does not find a land. All right, that's as bad as last game. So we'll go ahead and look at the top card of our library, and it is a land. So, and we'll throw out a... what does Karn Great Creator actually get us? We'll go ahead and Pia. Only 2 Arclight Phoenixes in the graveyard. The Scalding Tarn's going to go get a land. Opponent does finally find the land, but decides not to go for it this turn. We still want, I believe, to dig for an either Anger of the Gods or a Relic of Progenitus. Either one of those will just win the game. Yeah, I'm going to continue to search for them. See if one of these gets bolted off. My opponent wants to keep the spells in hand, though. It can be very tough for my opponent to come back, which is with all the Asphoritolds in the graveyard, with the amount of gas that we have in our hand, and the ability just to... it's 3 turns my opponent has to deal with. Electro Dominance. Okay. And... it puts out 2 of the rhinos. So we can Skred one of them away with the Electro Dominance. I don't know if my opponent does want to attack, though. So maybe at this point we need to kill a Phoenix if my opponent goes for Finale. Casting the Crashing Footfalls. Ugh. Ugh. And decides to kill the Pia. So it gets 2 more rhinos, and then these Phoenixes should come back into play. Oh, let's see here. What is the right call? I need to kill one of the rhinos. But I think I take the damage. Crack the Mind Stone. Because my opponent's just going to keep casting these. Do I crack the Mind Stone for Relic? No, at this point we just need to... I think Karn, Sign of Urza. Blood Moon's terrible. So let's go... Karn. Maybe Karn Great Creator would have been better. Put out a 5/5. That way we can bolt one of the Phoenixes, block one of the rhinos, and go to 2. But that still might not... Can't believe our opponent came back from this. This rhino card was extremely good. With the Electro Dominance. Need the Relic. Where's the relics when we... So Faithless Looting. Just finding another Arclight Phoenix. Vapor Snag. That will do it. Alright, there's Vapor Snags in the deck. Go to the sideboard. Wow, can't believe we lost that one. The Acolyte of Flame is okay. Probably doesn't get us there. The Wurmcoil Engine is just bad. This is a tough matchup. Like, Dragon's Claw's okay, but I don't think it's where we want to be either. I don't think I make any changes to the deck with the exception of Blood Moons. Blood Moons, I think, are bad in this. This allows us the Acolyte and maybe the Awakened Inferno. Possibly a Goblin Cratermaker. Probably not. Wurmcoil Engine probably can just go in our main. We'd like to cast it.
And I'll submit this. So this seems to be a tough matchup unless I can find the Relic. So we're going to mulligan quite aggressively for the Relic of Progenitus. Do I... Well, I can... Skred, Scrying Sheets, Astrolabe. I'm going to mulligan for a Relic. There it is. The problem is, though, we have to keep a one-lander. And I think at this point, we're just going to put a Mind Stone on the bottom. And throw a Relic out. Not quite sure that's what I want to be doing. Because we still die to the Rhinos. There's just a lot. The Rhinos are extremely good because they get around our... Okay, that's very good that we get the other mana for the Mind Stone. Because if we can go Karn... I don't know if what Karn wants to do. Probably Liquimetal Coating to grab. And we'll throw out another Mind Stone. It's better than nothing. And there's a Manamorphose. We'll eat the Manamorphose. Don't know if it's relevant. It is with finales. And has the Crashing Footfalls. Pretty crazy card. So Electro Dominance again for another Crashing Footfalls? No, for Ancestral Visions. So it gets to draw 3. How do I get out of this? Vapor Snags are a pain. I think I'm going to have to blow the Relic here. Skred does not work. Double Lightning Bolt does. Karn doesn't really do us much. Does Karn get us a Batterskull that could possibly... counter a colorless spell with Ceremonious Rejection, huh? Oh, that was awful. So I think we're losing to the Rhinos, especially if an double Arclight Phoenix comes out. That is lethal. Pretty sweet deck with the Rhinos. Being able to instant speed those in with the Electro Dominance. And we're dead. We'll go on to... We're 3-2. We're still in we can still go 3-2. I'll play another one. I misplayed the humans matchup. That one was tough. That one, I think we needed a Relic on game 1 a lot earlier. But the 4/4s are really, really tough with this deck to deal with. I mean, Skred, you're just a losing battle with card advantage. Let's go on to the next one. Alrighty, match number 4. Yes, we'd like to play first. Keepable hand, we have the 3 lands, which we want, and a Bolt and a Relic. We'll just start off with the good old Relic. Pass the turn to our opponent. And hopefully we're going up against some graveyard-based deck. We can start eating their graveyard right away. A lot of Faithless Looting decks out. It was 42% of the meta. Of course, we'll just go ahead and get rid of the Bloodstained Mire. Relic does super good versus Jund, one of the better decks at the Mythic Championship the other weekend. And I don't care if they Thoughtseize me here. That's fine. Skred does very good against Thoughtseize. What do they take here? Mind Stone? Lightning Bolt? Possibly Lightning Bolt? Mind Stone? I think it's Mind Stone you take here. I could see Pia and Kiran Nalaar. Does tutor up their 1 swamp, which was smart. For the Blood Moon, sometimes they run 2. And does take the Mind Stone. So we are going to go ahead and put out the Scrying Sheets and an Astrolabe to draw a card. Go ahead and Get rid of the Thoughtseize. And we have a lightning bolt up for something like a Bob. Most people aren't running Bob anymore in Jund. It's Ren in 6, but Ren in 6 cannot come out on turn 2 here, as my opponent got the Swamp. Again, I don't really care about another Thoughtseize at this point. Card for card is fine. The Scrying Sheets and the Pia and Kiran Nalaar are going to start getting advantage. Verdant Catacombs. Forest. Yeah. So my opponent has to, instead of going the... Oh, going to go for the Tarmogoyf. Instant land. So we need to eat a card before we actually go for the Goyf, because my Lightning Bolt would actually pump it up. So... let's go for that route. And maybe I should just Anger here. I think it's more reasonable just to Anger. Because it gets rid of a Tarmogoyf, and we keep the Lightning Bolt, which is more versatile in this matchup. So the Relic is going to do work. My opponent does find a Mountain and another Tarmogoyf that we're going to need to find an answer for, which we can exile a card from our graveyard. Which we will do the Mind Stone, which dumbs down. And we'll go ahead and throw out the Frostwalk Bastion. And pass a turn. There's 2 Goyfs down the bin. So I guess not going Anger would have been the right play. Going, it's fine. And see if my opponent starts flinging bolts at my face. Which I think would be a very bad play. But it's my opponent's prerogative to do so. Yeah, I'm thinking there's some bolts in hand. Scrying Sheets is going to hopefully start getting me some card advantage. Look at that. We get an Astrolabe. And another Relic. Which now we will throw out our favorite magic couple, the Pia and Kiran Nalaar, which creates 2 artifacts, creates a ton of card advantage with the amount of artifacts we have. There's the bolt. We knew that was coming, but we're leaving back 2 Thopters. So here we'll just go another Relic, get rid of the Lightning Bolt. And we'll be eating graveyards here. Probably will end up sacrificing one of the relics at the end of this, or I guess I'm tapped out. It's not the end of this turn. Cycling a Baron Moor for a Black Cleave Cliffs is coming into play tapped. Let's just get rid of that for the land. And then could bait on another Lightning Bolt for the Frostwalk Bastion. Yeah, we'll probably end up doing that anyway. Draw another land. And start the beats. The Beats by Dre. Coming in for 4. Putting our opponent down to a 12. And we're actually going to keep this Astrolabe in our hand because we can... I'd rather use Scrying Sheets here. And if my opponent uses Thoughtseize, they use Thoughtseize. Whoop-de-doo. If we would have cast the Astrolabe, most likely we would have found a card that we couldn't have played, and Thoughtseize could have worked there. So it's going to be the Bloodbraid Elf. That's probably one of the better cards that my opponent could have had for the Cascade. For a Bolt, though. Bolt wasn't very relevant. Probably going to take out a Flyer. Yep, that is fine. Goodbye, Bolt number 2. And we're going to take 3. I doubt it, though. I think my opponent needs to keep it back. All right, so my opponent is going to attack in. All right, so let's just go ahead and activate the Scrying Sheets. And it is not something that we can utilize with the Scrying Sheets. But we do have the Karn the Great Creator that can go get a Wurmcoil Engine or Batterskull. I think that that's the right play. So let's just go ahead and see what the Astrolabe is going to bring us. That could change things here. We'll do another one. Anger, I don't think is where we want to be. It's just Karn. And we are going to negative Karn to get a Batterskull is what I think is the best play here. And it could get Thought Seized, but that's fine. We're going to attempt to protect Karn. So the thing is, I'm either going to take the Thopter's going to take another Bolt, or I guess Bolt can just go towards Karn. But we have the blocker for the Bloodbraid Elf. If our opponent does overextend with more Bloodbraid Elves, we have Anger of the Gods to take care of Bloodbraid Elf. And if our opponent doesn't have a way to take care of the Thopter, we just block the Bloodbraid Elf. So Fatal Push. Okay, so again a card. Karn's going to die here. That's fine. Keep eating their graveyard. Don't know if it's relevant at this point to be eating their graveyard. However, we should have got Wurmcoil Engine. We will go ahead and just go the Batterskull. It's a difficult card for Jund to deal with. And we can crack both our relics here as well if our opponent does have a way to kill. Like, my opponent has another Fatal Push, most likely. Assassin's Trophy on the Batterskull. Okay. We get another land, though that does allow us to activate the Frostwalk Bastion for the Bloodbraid Elf. Or Scrying Sheets, either way. Thoughtseize. That's annoying. Gets rid of Anger. And a Seasoned Pyromancer. That's actually really good now without the... So now we probably don't want to trade with the Frostwalk Bastion. I'm just going to probably crack both relics. Hopefully we just draw like a bolt here, a Skred. Skred. Yeah, it's worthwhile. I think it's worthwhile. And I'm actually going to crack the other relic. And we get a snow-covered mountain. Alright, so now we need some love here. We'll just pass the turn. Too many lands. We're running low on lands, though. We're halfway through our land count. Well, we have 22 left in the deck. Maybe I should start keeping these in the hand for the Seasoned Pyromancer, though. They don't draw cards after you discard them. Oh, yeah, so it actually isn't relevant. So I'd hate to lose this game just to drawing way too many lands in a row. Scrying Sheets is supposed to help with that. We can block the Seasoned Pyromancer. Liliana, each player discards a card. That's not relevant. We have a mountain in hand, and my opponent actually has to discard probably a more relevant card. Oh, Thoughtseize. That's not very relevant. Bolts? My opponent must have a bolt in hand. At this point, no, there's no bolt in hand. This is just a bad attack by my opponent. And the Scrying Sheet, at least, we're either drawing gas or something to be cantripped by a relic. Or, drawing a land to get out of the way. Ugh. Blood Moon's actually horrible. That sucks. That was the worst card. So I'll be attacking into Liliana. That keeps that out of ult range for quite some time. We'll draw this awful Blood Moon. That was the one, and we're not going to play it. Our opponent can make us discard it. We're going to go ahead and get in with the Frostwalk Bastion into Liliana. I'm going to go ahead and Scrying Sheets right now. Because if it's an Astral... Alright, it's a Mind Stone coming up. At least that can be cantripped. Our opponent's going to go ahead and negative Liliana. We don't want Blood Moon. Blood Moon doesn't do anything here. Opponent's probably going to cast whatever they have first. An Ooze. Ooze doesn't do a lot. We still need to find... Just the mana card disadvantage to my opponent only having 5 lands, though, is the real... Okay, so we do have a draw, though, in the form of Mind Stone. We'll crack it. And hopefully it finds something like an Anger. Anger would be beautiful here. We anger the gods. Skred works too. Kapow. And then we get to activate Frostwalk Bastion into Liliana. Surprised my opponent doesn't want to be protecting Liliana. Stomping Grounds, and then you're going to activate. And then probably cast the Seasoned Pyromancer? That's what I'm assuming, out of the graveyard. So now we need to find that second Anger or a Chandra. All those would be good. Or a Pia and Kiran Nalaar, or a Seasoned Pyromancer of our own. Or, there's Anger. Awesome. And then activate Frostwalk Bastion here. And go at Liliana. And now Liliana is out of the way. And now our opponent, we're in very, very good shape now. There's not a lot my opponent can really draw into. Like Wrenn and 6 isn't that great of a draw here. Overgrown Tomb, of course, is not that great of a draw. We'll go ahead and activate the Scrying Sheets. And we do get another Frostwalk Bastion, which that's going to make quick work of our opponent. Karn the Great Creator actually is going to just do it right here. So, Karn, negative Karn. And I'm actually just going to get the Wurmcoil Engine because my opponent can actually top deck into a way to get rid of my Mycosynth Lattice, but I don't think there's a way my opponents can be able to deal with the Wurmcoil. So, they could have got another Thoughtseize. Probably wasn't that statistically... Ooh, a bigger Tarmogoyf, huh? Ay, ay, ay. Well, that was a good top deck in the form of Relic of Progenitus. I think my opponent's gonna be pretty salty with this, but they top decked into their last Tarmogoyf too, so I can top, or their third, so third for third. Okay, so Pillage is actually decent in this matchup for taking care of a 3-color land base, but probably not where we want to be. The Acolyte of Flame for Skreds is pretty decent, and it's a tough card for my opponent to deal with, so we're going to bring it in. Same thing, the Wake Inferno. Wake Inferno might just be too weak for this deck, but we did see the Pyromancers and Bloodbraid Elves, so I'm going to keep one in. We don't need Wear Tear. Needle is okay. I think Needle's fine for Liliana and Ren, and so we can bring it in. Not going to leave it in the sideboard for Karn. I'd rather just get it out of the way turn 1. Batterskull and Wurmcoil Engine I just want in the deck. So this doesn't give us a lot of tutors for Karn except for the Mycosynth Lattice and the Liquimetal Coatings, maybe some Dragon Claws, Damping Spheres, most likely not. In fact, I don't even know if we really need the Karn Grey Creators. They're probably the weak link, in all honesty, in this deck. I'm going to keep one in the Mycosynth Lattice in the sideboard. We still want Blood Moons, I believe. We still want Angers. We still want Seasoned Pyromancers. We still want everything else. So we need to cut one card. I'm not quite certain that Blood Moon, if my opponent's playing around it, is the right way to go. Yeah, let's keep in one Blood Moon. It's not that necessary in this particular matchup. I guess I could bring in the other Chandra. So we still have the Karn. We have to mulligan this one, of course. And we want to mulligan anyway to a Relic in this particular matchup. This is keepable. We'll throw a Snow-Covered Mountain on the bottom. So what didn't we see? We saw Scavengers and Tarmogoyf and Bloodbraid. So I think that's going to be the creature package. There's not, and Seasoned Pyromancer. So there's not a lot of room for threats. Then Liliana, and I'm assuming Ren is in here because they are running the cycling land. In fact, I think Blood Moon comes out in this matchup. This is a Relic match. We need to find a Relic of Progenitus. We did not. Good news is, like, our Skred is going to outclass the Tarmogoyf no matter what our opponent has in play. It's already going to do 3 damage. And, yeah, it's an easy Skred target right now. Or bolt target, actually. Do we even care? Bolt can kill a Liliana. I'm going to Skred it. There goes Senior Goyf. So again, that was my reasoning with Skred over Lightning Bolt. I think Lightning Bolt, now that I drew the Relic, is more relevant for killing. Maybe a Scavenging Ooze would be better. Activated as far as can't be activated. A Collector's Oath is not that great versus me. They needed a Thoughtseize right there to take out the Bolt, but we're bolting away that. There's Scrying Sheets, Bolt, and you can get rid of that as well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you bring in Collector's Oath. I think that's a bad card to be bringing in against Skred. There's just too many ways to remove it. The 2/2 isn't very relevant. It's just a liability. So is Lily going to come out here? So we each discard a card. And believe it or not, we're going to go with the Bolt. A Bloodbraid Elf. I will make that trade. Okay, so Frostwalk Bastion, Karn. Tack into Liliana? Because this puts us in Lightning Bolt range, but... we'll get Liquimetal Coating. So, here's the thing. We don't want our opponent to draw a Thoughtseize or a Lightning Bolt. We're still not in terrible shape if our opponent does draw either one of those. Or a Bloodbraid Elf. So I think my opponent should have waited on Lily. Should have waited one turn on Liliana to... Okay, so we just throw away the snow-covered mountain. We draw one anyway. Coating. Target permanent becomes an artifact. Let's just take out the forest. And then get rid of the forest here. Go ahead and get rid of a card here. And go ahead. Summoning Sickness on the Frostwalk, right? Or do we draw a mountain this turn? I don't even know what we drew. I'm thinking for whatever reason we had the Frostwalk was on the Summoning Sick. Wooded Foothills. Well, we know for a fact that it's not going to be Summoning Sick next turn. And we draw an Arcum Astrolabe. So we're not in any dire straits here with the Liliana. We'll actually go take out the Swamp this time around. There it goes. Attack Liliana. Taking Liliana back down. Might as well go with the Astrolabe. Most likely opponent's going to make us discard this card. Oh, it's just going to be a land though, so that's fine. Get rid of a land out of my opponent's graveyard. I don't know if they have any more basics, or at least basic forest to tutor up. So this is going to do it. Thoughtseize goes away. We actually don't have anything to activate. Going to shut down Liliana this way. Liquimetal Coating on the Blackcleave Cliffs. Go ahead and kill it. We're still one off from the Mycosynth Lattice. Go ahead and... Seasoned Pyromancer just kind of sucks here. Ping down Liliana. Yeah, we're not even going to worry about Seasoned Pyromancer. It's not that much value with Liliana. Raging Ravine. So we're going to actually look at the top card of my library and see if it's a snow permanent. If that's the case. We're just going to go the Mycosynth Lattice route. And that should do it. Oh, I had it last turn. I don't know why I didn't do it last turn. I was thinking it was 7 mana for some reason. Get good, scrub. And my opponent cannot activate anything, and there is the scoop. Alrighty, we are on to match number 5. Yes, we'd like to play first. Keeble Hand, this has Seasoned Pyromancer that can get rid of Anger and Blood Moon if that is not relevant. We also have the Lightning Bolt and a Scrying Sheets. So, insanely good start. Like to see the matchup versus Eldrazi Tron. I know the Eldrazi or the Tron matchup's pretty poor, but Eldrazi Tron, I want to see if Skred really can go head to head, go pace to pace with like the Thought Not Seer or the Reality Smasher. Start off with a Snow-Covered Mountain. But the deck is super solid. Still thinking that, of course, the Arclight Phoenix deck was a bit tough. The humans matchup should have been a win. I misplayed that. I should have mulliganed. Okay, here's a Faithless Looting. We have hopefully not double Phoenix going into the bin. So this Blood Moon is going to be terrible. Anger of Gods is going to be awesome. And it is one Arclight Phoenix that does go to the graveyard. So not two. We actually do have a Lightning Bolt for one of them. We have a Lightning Bolt for two of them. And then an Anger of the Gods. So actually I'll just let it happen and then Anger if my opponent does decide to go all out this turn. We can take 6. I'd assume we can take 6. Lava Spike. Light up the stage. And did not find a card. What went to the exile? Bedlam Reveler and Monastery Swiftspear. Wow, that's not where my opponent wants to be. So we can go the Scrying Sheets here and probably safely just go the Seasoned Pyromancer and get rid of a Blood Moon and a Lightning Bolt. My opponent probably will be going Bedlam Reveler, which... No, they don't have enough instances or sorceries in the graveyard at the moment. Yeah, I think that's the right play. So we're going to Seasoned Pyromancer and get rid of Blood Moon Lightning Bolt. Possibly not. Maybe this is a bad play. I should have waited for an Anger of the Gods. I don't know. Yeah, because Bedlam's not going to be able to be cast. There's only 2, 3. Maybe Bedlam will be able to. So we want to discard Blood Moon Lightning Bolt. Okay. That gets us the lands we need. And also gives us some aggression versus our opponent. Gives us a block or 2 for the Swiftspear if my opponent decides to go for the Swiftspear. So Sunbait Canyon, there's Swiftspear. Does not go towards another Swiftspear. And Lava Spike, me, goes down to 2 cards. The Bedlam Reveler's gone now, though. So I'm down to a 14. I'll probably just be end up chump blocking with everything. Or just 2 of my elementals, possibly. I actually want a Lava Dart to happen here. Actually, they need mana for that, correct? Yeah, that's the flashbacks in the graveyard. So there could have like a Gut Shot or a Mutagenic Growth. I have been known to be played in these decks before, but we're going to double block on one. And block on the other. Alright, that allows us just to bolt that one off. Or Skred it. Either way works. We'll go the Frostwalk Bastion. And the Mind Stone. And go ahead and just pass a turn. 2 cards in my opponent's hand. Dragon's Claws will definitely come in from the sideboard. It's going to be the key card for this matchup. We also have a lot of other good cards. I mean, our main is pretty good versus this deck to begin with. Let's go for 3, which is a Soulscar Mage. And has 2 more mana, which is another Soulscar Mage. Which is another Soulscar Mage, so we win this. We win this one. We'll block with the Monstrous Whisper. We'll get blocked by the Elemental. And my opponent's going to scoop after the Anger of the Gods happens this next turn. We're going to go ahead and cantrip away. Oh, yeah. Now it's Anger of the Gods plus Relic of Progenitus, which is just dirty. So there's the Anger. Wipes the board clean. And then there's the Relic. Which we actually don't want to be playing quite yet until we play the Seasoned Pyromancer, so I don't need to do it right now. There's nothing with Flashback in the graveyard. Going to sacrifice both of these. Well, at least one of them to draw a card. But it's not going to be able to chain off. Arclight Phoenix needs like Manamorphose spell to get an Arclight back. So we'll start eating their graveyard away. Going to get rid of the Mountain here. Or yeah, that's fine as well. And I think I'm just going to... Yeah, that's awesome that we drew it, because we'll just go Seasoned Pyromancer from the graveyard. And then we have... Let's go ahead and do Relic right now. This will get rid of the Mountain. And we can crack the Relic anytime we want. I think my opponent just cracks the Sunbaked Canyon here. Possibly not. Alright, that's fine. I could start going on the offensive. Not a lot of threats left in my opponent's deck. That's 3 Monastery Swiss Bears, or 2 Monastery Swiss Bears, and 3 Soulscar Mages that are gone. And a Bedlam Reveler. So maybe I should have... Oh, so Faithless Looting is going to be Flashback. But that's... Yeah, I could care less, actually. That's like card disadvantage from the... Just finds Mountain. Yeah. We have Lightning Bolt Skred. We are absolutely in the driver's seat here. Maybe I do. Maybe with Bedlam Reveler, we want to get these out of the way. And that's an Arclight Phoenix, too, that's out of the way. All right, so we draw a Relic from cracking the Relic, so that, of course, was good. And now we go on to our main phase. And draw a snow-covered mountain. More the merrier at this point. We'll actually start turning up the heat here. And getting it for 4 per turn. Yeah, this Frostwalk Bastion just really, I think, gave the deck exactly what it needed with an activated... I mean, we've even tried like Mutavaults in this list before, ways to animate an artifact to attack in. And this is the perfect land, counting as both a snow-covered land and being able to animate. All right, so Relic of Progenitus. Now my opponent throws anything else in the graveyard, we start eating it away. Bedlam Revelers are impossible to cast from my opponent. Arclight Phoenix are still even a mana away from being hard cast. If my opponent does draw a land, we discredit and then exile it for good. And we also have the activation of the Scrying Sheets, which is going to make sure that we continue to draw gas after this. So Blood Moon is terrible. We will draw it, though. Not going to play it, of course, because it shuts down our Frostwalk Bastion. There's our Blood Moon. Go ahead and activate the Bastion, attacking for 4. See if my opponent decides to just bolt off the Bastion. If so, it's a damage that cannot be done in my face, and inevitably we'll get there with the elementals. Yep, there's the lightning bolt. Get it out of the graveyard. Whenever my opponent actually will sacrifice. Nope, does not do the Sunbank as a response. There's the Sunbake to draw a card. A little late on the cracking of it, though. I already got rid of the lightning bolt, which is what we wanted to do to put the spell count down. There's a third. That'll be hilarious if I put it as if Arclight Phoenix is in hand. Manamorphose. 4. Lightning Bolt. 4. Light up the stage. Sure. Which found Arclight Phoenix and a mountain is all. And already played the mountain. Can play the Arclight Phoenix the next turn. And just a gut shot on an elemental. I don't know why my opponent used it. It's instant speed. They could have waited for a Phoenix. Kind of an awkward play, in my opinion. We don't need to worry about Bedlam Revelers, because then the Arclight Phoenix couldn't be cast. So I don't need to be exiled in the graveyard quite yet. Only one relevant land that they can protect against Relic. And Karn off the top. Karn is something we absolutely will cast, though. So let's speed up the triggers here. Make them get rid of the Sunbaked Canyon. And then go to our draw step. And there's our Karn, which will cast a Karn. Go ahead and reveal the top 2 cards of my library. Might force my opponent to choose one of them. Which it's going to be an Anger and a Mind Stone. Or was not. It was a Lightning Bolt and a Scrying Sheets. There we go. Alright, so now we have another Scrying Sheets to actually activate. We can go ahead and attack in with the Elemental. My opponent is going to be able to play the land out of their exile for the Phoenix. Or actually, I think I'm on the wrong order. Let me see. Let me back up in the chat to see exactly what my opponent found with Light of the Stage. No, it doesn't show. Yeah, it was a Mountain and a Phoenix. There's the Phoenix, which will get Skredded down. Exiling that Phoenix and drawing the Mind Stone. And now we are definitely in the driver's seat here. We'll go ahead and just keep plussing Karn. We need to find a Seasoned Pyromancer as soon as possible. It was Snow-Covered Mountain, Snow-Covered Mountain. We'll throw a Snow-Covered Mountain out. We'll throw a Mind Stone out. We'll crack the Mind Stone, which finds another Snow-Covered Mountain, attacking with the Elemental. And then we'll have an activation of the Scrying Sheets to back us up. So right now, Karn does not have the best things to get out of our exile zone. Just a Lightning Bolt is all. And a Snow-Covered Mountain. So opponent does hardcast another Phoenix, which is fine. Again, we'll just Skred it. Ooh. I think we want a Lightning Bolt, maybe. No, so I don't think Bedlam Reveler's happening this game. Hey, we get another Snow-Covered Mountain out of the way with the Scrying Sheets. Can't quite lethal with getting the lightning bolt out of our opponent's, or out of our exile with Karn. So we'll continue just to reveal with Karn. And eventually we should draw into another finisher. No, we haven't hit a Pia and Kiran Nalaar yet. Only one Seasoned Pyromancer. Another useless Blood Moon. And this one has Snow-Covered Mountain and Arcum's Astrolabe. So we'll play the Snow-Covered Mountain. Go ahead and attack in with the Elemental. Guess I could have been negativing Karn here, but I thought I'd find a faster win condition. Lava Dart. Sure. Gonna sacrifice a mountain for another Lava Dart. To get back the Phoenix, which will bolt, if that's the case. It's gonna go light up the stage number 3, which finds Lava Spike and Lava Dart. I could actually still lose this. So Phoenix is going to be coming back, but we're going to bolt it away. Yeah, we have 2 more damage left in the bin here for crazy. Opponent's able to get back from this. But we should be drawing into gas. Scrying Sheets should start finding us. Hopefully it's like something not like a... I would say like a Mind Stone on top. Mind Stone is the worst thing we could have drawn because it then... Let's go ahead and crack a Mind Stone. Frostwalk Bastion. Ugh. I'm going to have to put a lightning bolt into my hand, which is ridiculous. I could still lose this stupid match. Too many lands, though. We're almost out of lands. Shouldn't have played it so I could play the Frostwalk Bastion. That was bad on my part. But we do have some protection against that Arclight Phoenix and sacrificing 2 mountains from my opponent. My opponent has a bazillion mountains left in the deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the vast majority of cards, I believe, are going to be lands. I believe my opponent's going to go for... They found their 4th Phoenix! Ugh. Well, there is the lightning bolt for that Phoenix. And Lava Dart gets back 2 Phoenixes and I lose the match next... Yeah, I lose next turn if my opponent just draws a spell. Okay, I don't know with Pia and Kiran Nalaar. That gives me 2 Thopters. No, because I can still... No, it gives me 2 Thopters that can... I can sacrifice artifacts? I think we want to get... With the Karn, we want to get the Astrolabe next turn, so... But I died to, like, lava spikes and things like that, too. I haven't even seen a lightning bolt yet. Only 1 lightning bolt. So we'll put out the Frostwalk Bastion. That can also give us another artifact. We're going to put a card we own into our hand. Which, oops. I should have an Astrolabe here. There it is. I have to open it. Then we'll cast the Astrolabe. We draw a card. Chandra. Does Chandra actually do it? Does 6 damage to a creature or Planeswalker. So it does not do what I want it to do. So we'll go Pia and Kiran Nalaar, which puts out 2 flyers. So they're going to be the Lava Dart. And we'll attack in with the Elemental, putting my opponent down to a 6. And we still have... Yeah, I think that we're okay no matter what here. Without... My opponent needs to draw like a Lightning Bolt or a Lava Spike. And then I'm in trouble. Because the 2 Lava Darts can kill the Thopters. And I can only kill one of the phoenixes. My opponent has only drawn... Is that correct? They've only drawn 6 lands? So Swiftspear is horrible. Swiftspear doesn't do anything. Because we just have lethal... Oh, I have lethal on board right here. Ha! Yeah, okay. I had lethal on board this entire time. Whoa, how come it's not... Okay. Oh, it's 3 mana. Never mind, I don't have quite lethal. Gonna go Lava Dart at Pia and Kiran Nalaar, sure. And Lava Dart at Pia and Kiran Nalaar. Sure, we'll let that happen too. I'm not going to sacrifice anything, it's fine. So that just allows us to look at the top card of our library, see if it's another... It is a Snow-Covered Mountain, that helps out. And we just went with the Chandra emblem? Not quite. So we go Mountain, activate. What a grindy match this ended up being. Close, too. I cannot believe my opponent was able to come back with this deck. It just keeps on coming with those light at the stages. Opponent has to block the Frostwalk Bastion. And then Chandra Awakening Inferno wins on the upkeep. Alrighty, so we'll be going on to the sideboard. This happens before draw as well. And man, neither one of us have a lot of time left in this game. So the Dragon's Claws are super good. We'll bring them in. Damping Sphere is probably where we want to be with this deck. We'll throw it in as well. I think that we want both Wurmcoil Engine and Batterskull. Karn Great Crater just seems very, very tough to make worthwhile. The Chandra Acolyte of Flame is good for the being able to cast another like Anger of the Gods. The Chandra Awakening Inferno we absolutely don't need. We want to be getting rid of cards that have high converted mana costs. So I think that Chandra Awakening Inferno comes out. We want Lightning Bolt, Skreds, Relics, Astrolabes. Blood Moons are also terrible. So those are the cards coming in, coming out. We'll submit this. It's all about trying to really stabilize for a Batterskull / Wurmcoil Engine. We can also stabilize quite well with the Dragon's Claws. So we do have the Dragon Claw, opening hand, very, very good. I probably will start off with just a Relic rather than a Skred because we can get some value off the Skred. And Relic's good turn 1. Definitely going to keep this. Swiftspear. Now I possibly just want to Skred it. Gut Shot. I think that's quite terrible just for an extra damage. Extra 2 damage. Yeah, an extra damage. And now my opponent can't... I can't Skred it. What am I smoking? I almost Skredded a Swiftspear. So we'll go with the Relic. No Lightning Bolt for the Swiftspear. Get rid of the Gut Shot. Keeps away the Bedlam Reveler for a bit. But next turn we should be able to use the Swiftspear to Skred it on our turn. Might just go Dragon Claw instead, though. Yeah, Dragon Claw is probably the right play. Opponent could have a crazy turn 2. The decks are known for it, but usually not with a Gut Shot for just an extra damage for the Monastery Swiftspear. That typically isn't the nut draw. There's another Swiss Spear. That is... Eee. And there's the bolt. Do I need to go... So I'm down to a 10. No, Dragonclaw I think is still the right play. Yeah, I do believe Dragonclaw's the right play and then into Seasoned Pyromancer. Or I could Skred both. I'm going to go Dragonclaw. And that allows us to... gain a life for every prowess. So it's going to negate half the prowess triggers. Manamorphose, so we're going to gain life. That is probably the worst card that we could have faced, because it allows for another prowess trigger. So possibly going Skred on the Swiss Spears would have been the right play. Lava Dart. Light up the stage. Which finds Soulscar Mage and Lava Spike. And let's see what my opponent wants to go with, because I don't think Lava Spike quite gets there. Soulscar Mage is a little more of a problem. We're going to gain 2 life off Skreds, though. Yeah, so my opponent should have gone Lava Spike, because that would have been enough. So I'm going down to a 3. But I get a Skred next turn to gain 2 life. Not out of this yet, though. Opponent does have a Lava Spike they can cast, so that puts me to 1. See what the card they drew was. Gutshot doesn't do it. Lava Spike does do it. No, it doesn't either. Light up the stage. Puts me to 2. And the opponent draws Bedlam Reveler. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And a mountain. So does able to cast the mountain. We're gonna get rid of the relic. And I think Dragonclaw is gonna get us there. We have the Seasoned Pyromancer that's gonna give us a bit of padding. And we're actually gonna ditch the Arcum's Astrolabe and the other Season's Pyromancer. Oh, okay, because I was hoping for... like a lightning bolt or something to get me some more. There's an Anger of the Gods. Pretty terrible at the moment, but what do we lose to? I'm trying to figure out. I mean, the Sunbaked Canyon is going to be able to draw a card. There's been a Lava Dart burned. A lot of cards burned here. Yeah, just going to crack the Sunbaked. Needs to run a lot of damage spells that do more than Dragon Claw. Okay, so that was the worst possible card to draw into. I think we're going to want to attack in with these two. Lava Dart on a elemental. Interesting. So that it can kill the Seasoned Pyromancer. Possibly you want to go for the Frostwalk. Yeah. So up to a 5 though, and it killed a mountain. Oh wow, this is going to tap it and it doesn't untap. Perfect. So that's going to give me another turn. Yeah, definitely worthwhile. I like that trade. We do lose a land. Our opponent does not get to untap the Soulscar Mage. Now we'll keep back the Pyromancer. Maybe we'll just Anger the Gods. We'll end up casting another Pyromancer here. Ay. So we'll go ahead and attack in with the Seasoned Pyromancer. To create 2 blockers. We're up to a 5. We're going to be blocking the elemental. One card left in hand. We'll cantrip away the Astrolabe. Didn't do much. Attacking with the Pyromancer again if my opponent wants to make that trade. Down to a 9. Two spells. Can't cast the Arclight Phoenixes now if they have drawn quite a few lands this time around. We are going to be drawing a spell, so bolting me, which does, it's only a shock at this point. And then we will go to the block. So that allows us to attack with our elemental and keep our Pyromancer back. And we'll look. Hopefully we can not draw. All right, there's another Snowcovered Mountain off the top. And Frostwalk Bastion. Ugh. Go ahead and attack in with the elemental. And maybe not draw another land in a row. 11 lands out of the way. And there's the Arclight Phoenix. which puts me down to a 1. But we do have the Anger of the Gods, will put us up to a 2. But it's still very, very slim here of being able to find another. All right, so it's a Goblin Cratermaker that's going to allow us to draw another or gain another life. So we get to untap here, play Snow-Covered Mountain, attack with these two. Might as well, because they're going to get angered. Opponent goes down to a 4. Throw out the anger, which exiles the Arclight Phoenix. And we also have the Cratermaker, which puts us up to a 3, which keeps us out of Lightning Bolt range because of the Dragon Claw. Our opponent is also down to a 2, so we have lethal on board next turn. What a crazy matchup. Down to the wire. We both don't have any time left. Going down about 5 minutes left. Neither how to play quicker, especially when we play decks like Skred. Gonna crack the Eyelet. 2 cards in hand. Dragon Claw is just such a clutch card in this matchup. Such a clutch card. Gained us. Someone will have to go back in the comment section and see exactly how much life it gained. But I mean, the incremental life too is just a pain. Opponent does put us down to a 1. Do they have the other card? Activate the Frostwalk Bastion. And swinging for lethal. Our opponent concedes there. We go 3 and 2. Whew, that Dragon Claw. Clutch, clutch, clutch. So we get this treasure chest. What's a treasure chest even do anymore in this thing? Been a long while since I played MTGO, a little bit rusty. We'll take a look one more time at the deck list. With any changes I'd make, I kind of like how it is. I think the deck felt very, very solid. I think that maybe switching a Karn Sign of Urza out for a Koth. I feel like Koth could do very well in a lot of matchups, especially with the Chandra Acolyte of Flames. So like putting a 1 of Koth and 1 of Chandra, then you're really going down how many times you're actually going to get that combo out, like a turn 3 Chandra and a turn 4 Koth. I get it, but I think it's just the cuteness of the combo deserves to be in here. We'll keep playing around with this deck. We haven't left Modern. I will be trying out Soul Sisters with the Ajani upcoming for top 10 cards that I want to brew with from the Core 2020, and I believe Sorin is also on that list specifically for Modern. So we're going to try to build a Sorin Vampire deck in Modern, see if it can actually work out. Hope you enjoyed these matches, and we'll see you next time on Tuesday for Tuesday Brews Day, and we'll have a couple other brews coming out this week. Thanks for watching.